A story of the interesting little people whom we meet in the newsreel theaters of the world. I meet the furious, curious, penurious people of the day, and in their funny way, ha-ha, I find them very gay. I learn the history, mystery, blistery tales of love and hate, of the very small and the very great. Wait, flood time in the South. Once again, the mighty Mississippi overflows her banks and runs through the once arid city of Flutesville, Alabama. We hear of the disaster through one of the survivors, Miss Lucy Debussy. Miss Debussy. I was giving a music lesson in the home of a Mrs. Wesson. When the flood began, the family ran, but I was true to my Chopin. The people left and took 2 boats while I was playing my silvery notes, and then the piano floated away, and I was left without no pay. I held my music in my mouth and swam upstream away from that south. I met my folks in Cincinnati, but they turned their backs 'cause I looked so ratty. That's my family for you. A famous Hollywood masseuse gives business hints. This brave, tailored little woman reveals all. I started in a salad shop and beat my way right to the top. But I found more money in Miss Garbo's legs than I did in whipping up 4 dozen of eggs. They stood up for me in that western town, 'cause I whacked so hard they could not sit down. If you want to make money, my advice to you is to save your paddle and sell your canoe. After working for 40 years, Mrs. Daisy Wiggle has finally completed a dollhouse made completely from human hair. This tiny, elfin little dwelling contains 1 hair from every nation and notable in the world. Mrs. Wiggle. Pulling hairs is lots of fun. You really ought to try it. From kings and queens and everyone, I've snitched hairs on the quiet. They never miss a strand or so, don't even know they're gone. And if they turn around, you know I merely scamper on. I've lovely hairs from horses' tails, from apes and marmosets. I've elephant hairs as tough as nails and lots of grand regrets. Of course, I never did believe that this work would make me rich, you silly. But I'll take it apart someday and weave myself a beautiful switch. The citizens of Umlaut, Arizona were amazed today to find Mrs. Gaspo, a resident fortunately not from the town proper, walking in the streets completely nude. Mrs. Gaspo claimed that she'd been attacked by a swarm of locusts and refused to be ashamed of her lack of clothing. Mrs. Gaspo. I was riding leisure-like to town when a swarm of locusts settled down on me and Mary, that's my horse, and they bit and chawed with all their force. They ate poor Mary clean away, ate my clothes and my hair turned gray. Now here I am like I was born, and them rascals yelling September morn. It ain't September, them sassy little brats ought to give me their coats and a tip up their hats. I'm a church-going woman, and I ain't worried. Gonna buy a new horse, and I won't be hurried. May get a dress if my money holds out. Boys, look at me and learn what it's about.